Hey guys. Okay. So if you're jumping on here, I want to first make sure that everybody can hear me because I don't know that these still work because I washed them. So I don't know. But let me get on here. Allow guests to request to join. Okay. So I'm going to go over here to my computer and make sure that people can hear me because I washed these earbuds after a ski trip and I don't know like if they still work. So let's go over here. I have a fun live for today, like a really good one that you want to hear because it's all about occasional shops and antiquing and furniture flipping, and we're going to talk about all the things that you need to know with someone whom I consider an expert. So if you can hear me, comment, say hello, let me know you're here. Okay. I have a fun live for today. Oh, it's working. Good. Good one that you want to hear. Okay. I'm going to turn the volume off here. Brooke Johnson from the Junk Parlor wants to join me. Okay. Brooke, can you hear me? When you get on here, let me know.
Hey.
Hey. Do you have earbuds?
I don't, but can you hear me?
Yeah, but it echoes back to me.
Like my voice. I don't think. I don't. All the kids have them, and I do not have anything.
Okay, let me see if I can turn my volume down. Okay, you guys. So I am here today with Brooke Johnson from the Junk Parlor. Some of you may remember her from last year when I interviewed her about her occasional shop in my former business group, Empire Creative. I walked away with so much more knowledge, but I was in a place where I was able to really be flipping furniture and antiquing and vintage the way that I am now. So I was like, I've got to get Brooke back on here. Okay, so Brooke, tell us about the Junk Parlor.
The Junk Parlor is an occasional shop. I'm in my 4th year of having the brick and mortar, and I open 4 days a month. So basically, you find the second Saturday on the calendar, and I'm open Thursday through Sunday that weekend.
Crystal, I'm so sorry that it's echoey.
You sound fine on my end.
Yeah. So when I talk, it echoes back on your speaker to them and to me.
Okay.
So we need you to find earbuds.
Okay, give me a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my God! Wow.
There we go.
Is so much better. I've
never done it like this.
I didn't want to be like, I can't do this, but because I didn't know if other people could hear it, but it was like in my ear, it sounded like 1,000 birds. Gotcha. It hurts so bad. Okay.
You're like, I'm dying.
I literally was just about to type that. I'm dying. Okay. So we're going to just start over because that was terrible.
Okay.
And when I load this to YouTube, I'll just edit that part out.
Okay.
But
sounds good.
Okay. So guys, this is Brooke from the Junk Parlor. And last year I used to have, which it still exists, but it's not open right now, a business consulting group for creative entrepreneurs, for painters, for bloggers, for whatever. And I interviewed with Brooke. Brooke, did you do Creators Roadmap with Jennifer Allwood?
No.
Okay.
I'm in her just
the
normal
cluster
business
group.
group.
Okay. For
Yep.
some reason, I thought you did. But, anyways, guys, I interviewed with Brooke and I asked her about her business and her occasional shop. But I really wasn't in the position at that point because I was about to start building the big house, to start like flipping furniture the way that I wanted to, and antiquing and vintaging. So, when I was going through my list of like, who should I talk to, Brooke was at the top of my list because I was like, she knows so much that I need to know. So,
Oh, well,
Brooke,
thank you.
we're going to restart and just tell us,
Okay.
because everybody doesn't know what an occasional shop is. That's like a foreign term. But you guys, if you're into vintaging or furniture flipping or antiquing or whatever, any handmade decor, you need to know what an occasional shop is, because it's the perfect opportunity for you to do something big on your, the way you want to do it. So, Brooke, go ahead, take over.
Exactly. So the plus to the occasional shop is that you can be open maybe 2 days a month. You could be open 4 days a month. You could be open however you want. You're just occasionally open. So my shop, I'm open 4 days a month, but some people are going to be like, maybe they're open every Saturday. That is an occasional shop. So the reason that that's a benefit to an antique person, an antique dealer, is we can't just open up a catalog and order whatever we want and it, show up. So we have to go out and find it, clean it, fix it, paint it, repurpose it, whatever it is that you specialize in your shop, and then bring it into your shop. And so being open just a limited time each month allows me to go do all of those things, then have an awesome collection in the store for my people to shop from. And so it just works out really well. Those are probably that's probably the biggest plus to an occasional shop.
Okay, so the biggest question that people everywhere have, and I'll share where I find stuff too, but the biggest question that everyone has is, where do you find your junk? Like, where do I go? Where do I go to find affordable pieces? And the problem that a lot of people run into, and I run into, is like, now people, like, you can't just find trash furniture all of a sudden, because like everybody's like, oh, my old college dorm end table that 4 dogs chewed on and my roommate peed on while he was drunk is $22.99.
Yep.
So where do you go to find your goodies?
Well, it is definitely changing. You will hear the older dealers all the time talk about, well, I used to buy this water can for $1. Now I got to buy it for 15 and then try and sell it for more. So it is definitely different, but it's still all of those same places. Some of it's luck of the draw on what you get. And then, you just got to try a bunch of places. So you're still hitting up garage sales. You're going to thrift stores, even though thrift stores can be as expensive as an antique shop sometimes. Hit up those antique shops, because sometimes people have had something sitting around for a while, so they have it marked down cheap. And the only reason that it hasn't sold isn't necessarily because it's not a good piece. It's just because somebody hasn't seen it, or it's just been hidden amongst some other junk. Go to auctions. Look at your Facebook marketplace. That has been a great place for a lot of people to find some treasures. Now, you might look on Marketplace and think, I can never find anything, but that's because those things that are good are going to go fast. I was just trying to get some chicken nesting boxes this morning, and literally the guy had just posted, and I messaged him immediately, and he's like, they're already sold. I'm like, no, but so sometimes it's just luck of the draw, because I have also happened to be the first person to message on this awesome, I think it was like 70 drawers, wooden, long cabinet piece. And I was just like, jumping and doing cartwheels because I just happened to be the first one. And he said, when I came and picked it up, he said, I probably had 100 people, say that they wanted it. And that was just in a matter of hours. So, it's just luck of the draw. And then as I've had the shop, probably the biggest change for me is just people calling me and saying, hey, Brooke, we need money. Can you come and look at our stuff? Somebody's passed away. Can you come and look at some stuff? We are moving. We are downsizing. Whatever, and they just call, and then I just do a personal sale, or that's when you go picking.
Okay, so you guys, those are all awesome, awesome places. And I think you totally hit every single place that I would go with too. If
Yep.
anybody, I don't know where you find your auctions at, but you guys, if you're looking for auctions, you're going to go to auctionzip.com. You're going to type in your zip code and you're going to find, you can put in, I think you can put in a radius and it'll tell you where all the auctions are near
Yep.
you.
Yep. I've used that too.
When you go in and you meet somebody like to pick, like let's say you show up, because I've done this is where I've had the most luck is I'll go to a place and I'll get to pick and then I'll be like, hey, do you have any other stuff? And then all of a sudden they open, this big hoard of things that they have. Do you find like what are some of your negotiating tactics when you go in? Like what is your
I would say kind of like what you're talking about. That's probably more a technique that I would use like at a garage sale or something, kind of skimming their garage and kind of seeing the kind of stuff they have, because I think a lot of times the stuff that maybe I'm interested in, people consider junk. And so they don't necessarily realize that someone would pay them money for it. And so they don't put it out at their garage sale. So maybe talking about that stuff. And then on picks as well. If people are bringing me into their home and maybe they have a bunch of really nice stuff, but it's out of my budget, because the key is I have to make money off of it. It's not worth it to me to make a couple of dollars off of an item. I would never stay afloat in my business if that was the case. So sometimes I'll be like, I'm kind of more the person that's going to buy something from your garage or your basement or your barn, not something that you have out and displayed, because those are going to be things that are probably in better condition. The person has a little bit more personal attachment to those things if they're displaying them in their house. And so I just kind of mention, the barn or anything you have, sitting outside in your junk pile, those are the things that I might be a little bit more interested in, because I'm willing to put in a little bit of time, clean it up, seal it, fix it, or whatever, if I'm getting it at a cheaper price. And then the other thing is probably something I've really just learned recently that another dealer has talked about is let them set the price. Because when I've had like what I call bigger dealers come and buy off of me, one time this girl, she offered me a sign that I had made. It was a small bait and tackle sign. I just used a stencil, put it on a chippy board, de-stressed it a little bit. I mean, it looked awesome, but she was going to give me like $150 for this little sign. And if I had priced it, I would have been at probably like $15 to her, because she was another dealer. And, so she got herself into trouble with that. How about that? Because she gave me way more money than I thought it was even worth. So you as a dealer want to go and make sure that they put the price on it, because to them it might not be worth very much, and you might know in your head that you can sell it for $100, but if they're happy with selling it for $5, then you want to buy it for $5. But you can't put your foot in your mouth and say, oh, I'll give you $100 for that, because then anything else that they have, they might want more money for. You hearing me okay?
Yeah, I'm totally hearing you.
Okay.
Every time I get on a live, it's like text message, text message, text message.
Oh,
it's
gotcha,
like,
gotcha.
I can't even get people to reply to me usually.
Right, right.
Okay.
Well, that's why if I can remember, which I didn't, but you turn your do not disturb on.
I don't,
because then you don't
try
see it.
to do that and it never works.
Gotcha.
Okay, you guys. So that tip was to always let the seller give you the first price. So one thing that I'll do when I go in there is I'm always ready to buy in bulk. Like that has helped me so much. So just be ready to really commit to the picking. And this is just my opinion. I try to get really committed to the picking so I can find a lot of things, whether it's a little or whatever. And then, they'll give me their price. And then I might say something like, hey, can I just pick a lot of things out and then you can price it all at the end? And then I'll say, what's your best price on this? And then we'll kind of banter back and forth there. I've never been kicked out of anywhere for doing that. It's only worked in my favor. You don't want to be aggressive or rude, but
Correct.
once you give your price, that kind of closes the door. Brooke, do you ever have stuff that just doesn't move?
Oh, yes, all the time. I mean, that's one of the reasons that in my shop I am constantly rearranging. So every month you come in and it looks completely different because just by displaying a piece in a different way, it gives people either it just catches their eye or it gives them a different idea of how they can use it in their home. So simply by moving pieces around, you are going to help yourself make a sale.
So since I'm so much smaller scale, I can kind of make room in my house for the stuff after I paint it. But I'm sitting at a table right now that I've literally changed 4 times. I'm like, if
Yep.
somebody doesn't buy it, I'm just going to strip it and take it back to the roots and restart this whole process.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
but
But that's
I,
a great idea. Like if you paint something and it's not selling, try it a different color, distress it more. You know, if you're talking more furniture, it sounds
yeah,
like.
yeah,
So,
furniture.
yeah, so just try different techniques like that. And then also when you're taking your pictures to put on Facebook Marketplace or put on your page or wherever you're selling, change it up too. Like give them different ideas of, it doesn't necessarily have to be a table. Maybe you're going to use it as a desk, and so you could style it as a desk, or do it even as a side table or something in your living room or by your bed, depending on what the piece is. Just give people different ideas of how they could use that in their home, because some people are super creative and can come up with a million things, ideas, and some people really struggle with that and they need you to tell them what they should do.
You're right. You're right. I need to restage this, but I felt better. Do you follow the turquoise iris at all?
A little bit. I've watched her paint a couple times.
She's
Yep.
my paint crush.
Oh,
And
she's
the
amazing.
the other day I was watching her and she was like, "This piece has been sitting in my house for 7 months and it hasn't sold." So she was like, "I'm just going to add some different wax to it." And like I'm pretty sure a week later it sold, like after
Yep.
she added different wax, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool," because that made me feel better that other people that are really big are holding on to stuff like you and her. Um because when something doesn't sell, I'm like, oh my gosh, like maybe I shouldn't keep doing this, or maybe I'm like not as good of a furniture painter as I thought I was.
Well, you can't think like that because you have to think, maybe you just haven't, the right person hasn't seen it. Because, a lot of times we think that if we post something on Facebook, everybody's going to see it. But reality is that only a small fraction of the people that are on Facebook, on our page, are actually going to see the item. And so that person who's going to fall in love with that piece just hasn't seen it yet.
You're right. And that was exactly what I thought. Is like I was like, well, I posted the table and chairs, and I was like, well, I better not make plans today because I'm probably going to be loading this up later.
Yeah.
No, 2 weeks later, I'm sitting at the table and it has a guitar and 52 notebooks on
There you
it.
go.
Okay, so everybody obviously knows about furniture, like furniture flipping, of course, and like finding antique furniture. That's a great thing. But what are other things that we should be looking for? I really only look for furniture.
Really? Well, it
Yeah.
just kind of depends on what your specialty is. I mean, some people are going to be focused on bigger pieces like the furniture, but think about things to style on it. I mean, old books and scales and ironstone, those are all things that are really hot right now, anything with numbers. And so if you can make a little vignette on your piece of furniture, that's definitely going to help the furniture sell, and then you can sell those items as well. So you kind of just want to pay attention to social media, HGTV, obviously. What are some things that they are consistently putting in their homes, displaying, vignettes with? And those are probably going to be the things that are trending. And so those are the things that you're going to want to be looking for because your customers are going to want to be looking for those.
Are you having more luck with like the white chippy paint stuff, or do you see people moving back to like that honey wood look? Because I feel like people are moving back into that honey wood look with less of the white chippy paint.
Well, I think it really depends on your area. You got to remember, I'm in small town Iowa, so I think that white chippy is still hot here. I see the trend more than the wood. Like I always tell people on my page that they might get upset that I'm painting something, but everybody loves it, but it doesn't sell. Like just a wood piece is not going to sell in my shop. I can leave it in my shop and people will comment about loving it, but they don't take it home with them. Then I will paint it and they will take it home. So I tell my wood lovers, you better get buying furniture because people are going to keep painting it for a while. But I see the trend actually more from what I see as being bright colors. People want blue and hot pink and green. They want instead of doing the white chippy, they want it in some bright colors. I think we're going a little bit brighter.
I saw my first piece, like I'd never seen anybody paint a piece of furniture this color. It was a buffet and it was hot pink, like hot pink chalk paint. And I was like, wow, that kind of looks pretty good. I mean, no, I don't want any hot pink furniture in my house, but it looked pretty good. What else was I going to ask you? Are the metal signs, are they really big where you're at? The road signs, the street signs, things like that.
I would say not as much as they used to be when I first started. I think that they're slowing down, the vintage street signs and road signs. And even just like number signs. I think around here, they're slowing down. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be popular in a different area. I really think that your location plays a key role in how fast or slow trends make it to your area.
Okay, so Christy says she loves the bright painted furniture. Christy, she has Christy, what would you call it? It's like a booth, like a vintage booth. Christy, so if you have any questions, ask the junk parlor because she has the answers. Okay, so when you bring stuff back to your house and it's all scratched up, do you even attempt to fix it first, or do you just stage it and then see if that grit and that grime sells, or do you always clean up everything before you put it out?
I normally clean up everything before I put it out. I invested in a power washer, which I'm going to tell you I should have done years ago. I was like him-hawing around about, should I do it? Should I not do it? Will I use it? Will I not use it? Oh my gosh, that is such a big time saver because you can just, a lot of the stuff I get is covered in coon poop and it's just disgusting. Yeah, a lot of barn digging. And so then you can just power wash it and, it's gone. So I do pretty much clean stuff up. And then another kind of a seasoned veteran one time just told me, what kind of customer do you want? So if you're not going to clean it up, then that's probably going to be a little bit cheaper customer. They want to DIY it themselves, which is totally great because DIYing is really popular right now. So do you want that to be your customer, or do you want the customer that has a little bit more disposable income and they can just buy it, throw it in their house, and they want it to be done? They don't want to have to mess with it. So I think it just kind of depends on who your target market's going to be.
I want to talk about your new class that you're offering because I'm personally very interested in that. I feel like I could benefit from it. But first, I want to ask you this: do you pressure wash your furniture too, like wooden furniture before you paint?
Yep.
Really?
I do.
Okay.
Yep. It will even strip the paint depending on. So you start farther back,
right?
To kind of see how the wood's going to take it, and you go with the grain. Because it will peel it up, and if it's got veneer on it, you don't want to do that because the moisture is going to get under there and pop up the veneer.
Right.
But yeah, totally will do the power washer on pretty much everything.
Okay, so tell us about your new class, your new course that you're offering. First tell us what you're going to offer us.
So it's staging your antique shop with the junk parlor, and basically I'm focused on staging, although I touch on so many other areas. It's a group through Facebook, and then you also get the information through an email. And what happens is each Wednesday I go live in the group and do a lesson for you, and then the goal is that you actually implement what I'm talking about, because the crazy thing is that so often people learn all of this information that is good for their business, but they never actually do anything with it. They don't implement it. So I really want the girls in my group to implement what we're talking about. So I'll do normally about a 30-minute lesson. It could be on Facebook, it could be on organization, scheduling your time management. It could be on, oh, any number of things. And then I will go through and do like a 30-minute example of setting up a vignette. So like I might take like the vignette I have behind me here at my house and clean off the space and then just restyle it and walk everybody through, okay, here's why I'm putting this where I am. Here are different things that you're going to look for, like repetition and pattern and varying your depth and going over different things that if you know what to look for, you're going to be able to incorporate those in your vignettes and your displays, and that's going to make your display look better. If your shop looks better, then your pictures that you put on social media are going to look better, and all of that's going to help attract customers to you and make it so that they're more likely to be able to envision how they could put that in their shop, and then they'll be more likely to buy it.
Do you offer any like painting tutorials in your group?
We don't do any painting tutorials. This is kind of more just the staging part of your shop, you know,
Okay.
your floor plan, where you should put out your checkout counter. We talk about if you go set up at an antique show, that where you put your checkout counter on that is very important as well, and different just checklists on what you should pack in your trailer and things that, especially if it's one of your first few times doing a show, what are some things that you should think about when you're doing that?
Anytime I go to like a vintage fair or even like a vintage store or anything, I always go in and I'm like, how do these people figure out how to basically create a room and a vibe in a 10 by 10 space? Like that's really, I mean, that really is, it's a craft that you do have to have some knowledge about. Okay, so you're gonna offer your vignette styling, and then you're gonna, help people figure out where to shop. Maybe not specific places, but ideas. And then you're going to talk about the layout of your store. But another thing that you're going to talk about is how to clean furniture up. And I thought that was really cool. And that's actually a freebie that you offer on your website too, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah, it totally is. You are right. I'm impressed. You've done your homework. So yes, we talk about pricing junk. We talk about where you buy it. We talk about cleaning it up. We talk about just different products that I use that maybe some of the girls in the group already use, but it gives some of them ideas on different things that they hadn't thought about. So it's really about just taking all of the things that I've learned over the years and passing those along to somebody else to make their life easier and hopefully get them more sales, because owning a small business is hard. I mean, anybody that does it knows, no matter if it's antique shop or what, it is just a hard job to do. And so I want to make their life easier and hopefully make them more successful.
Well, it is hard. And here's another thing that, I've learned from years of like being in various business coaching groups, like Jennifer Allwood's, for instance, or I've done Brittany Young's, I've done Amy Say's, several people's business coaching groups. And it's that usually people are so tight-lipped on like where they find stuff or how they do their business and things like that. And these business coaching groups are exactly the opposite. And come to think of it, I remember now in the inner circle, Jennifer interviews people, which was what gave me the idea to start interviewing people back when I first started doing it. Jennifer will interview like one celebrity blogger per month or something like that. And in her group, she let me post like, will somebody let me talk to them online? And I think you were one of the people that replied.
Yeah.
And that's how I met like probably, I have like 10 people that I still keep in touch with from the inner circle, and they were all interview people from that. But anyways, it's cool to get in those groups and be able to talk with people, because once you get into them, that's a place where people are really loose with like letting you know, hey, this worked for me, or this didn't work for me, or you could do this, not that. And everyone's so far apart. So, like you're in Iowa and I'm in Kentucky, and like there's people from Africa that watch this page. But anyways, it's easier to stay ahead of the trends too, or to see what's coming, because everybody's sharing it. And I really like that too about being in membership groups. So if people want to sign up for your membership group, where do they go? How do they find this? And when is it going to start?
Well, I am going to have a sign up May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So it's just, the card is only open for 3 days. And you are going to go to thejunkparlor.com. There's a Learn With Me button, and then you can sign up for the group there. If you go today, it'll just put you on the waiting list because tomorrow is when the cart opens. But I had been opening it for 3 days each month, and I'm going to open it for these 3 days in May, and then it's closed until the fall. So if you want to get in, you got to get in now, or you're going to have to wait. And one of the things that you were talking about as far as like sharing information, I definitely think that's kind of also the difference between generations. So I feel like the younger generation is a little bit more free with giving information, because if when I'm promoting people to come to my shop, even, I will be like, we have great restaurants, we have a lot of great shops in our community, because I want people to come to Centerville and enjoy Centerville. And I will give them, we have a flyer with all the other antique shops on it, and I try and get them to go to those places too. If I don't have something that they're looking for, and I think, okay, well, I bet so-and-so's shop, I bet that's something that they probably would have, I send them there. I just feel like that's good business. And I feel like if the other antique shops in my community are doing well, I'm going to also do well, because their main customers are happy, and then they're going to come to my shop as well. My main customers are happy, they're going to go to the other shops also. So it's just good for all of us. And I feel like some communities are a little bit more closed off, like I'm only going to promote my business and not promote my neighbor, not try and get people to go to my neighbor's shop. And I just don't think that that works in today's age. You know, with technology, you can look and see where all the shops are, and it's better to come from somebody verbally, that I am not scared to share other antique shops in my community. You know, I'm promoting them as well. So I think that that is definitely something that you can do, anybody can do in their community, which we talk about in the group. And that's going to help you become more successful too.
Another really cool thing about like this business, like the vintage business and the even the painted furniture business, is that no junk is the same. Like no, like it's never going to be like, oh, you could buy her white chippy dresser or you could buy my white chippy dresser. Of course you can. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, everything is so different. And every time somebody buys something, it's so particular to them. So, you know, I don't know. I think that's really cool about this business. So there's no need to be really tight-lipped about this.
Right. Well, and I mean, like you and I could both have the same thing. We could both have some ironstone pitcher, but how I style it connects with the customer, and then maybe how you style it connects with a different customer. And so it's just different things are going to call different people's names. And so that's one of the things with the group. I'm really trying to get you to take that into consideration, because so many people will come into my shop and be like, oh, I'm so glad you don't just have everything lined up on a shelf, you know. And they will come just for inspiration. Like, I didn't find anything today, but I so enjoyed looking at how you displayed stuff.
Yeah.
And I really want to go home and, you know, change up what I have in my house just because you gave me some new ideas. And so I think that that's very important as well.
It is. Okay, so before we go here, I want to make one statement, then I'll ask you three questions. My statement is
Okay.
that I appreciate that you said you will notice that you need repetition in a vignette, because my husband often asks me, why are there so many fake plants in our house? All the
Yep.
time. He's like, why
Yeah.
do you just keep buying fake plants are in, Vincent? That's
Yes.
why.
And greenery makes everything look better. That's another thing that we talk about a lot in the group. It helps in your shop too to have a lot of greenery. It just makes a difference.
There's a lot of greenery in this house, a whole lot.
Well, good.
And you don't even have to water it. It's the best part. Okay, my first question is this.
There.
Tell me two people that you follow on social media that you absolutely love and get tons of inspiration from that we should follow too.
Oh gosh. I am probably more into podcasts lately. Could I give you some
Really?
podcast
Okay,
people?
give me some
Yeah.
podcast.
Because I have just been trying to do better with my time management and not aimlessly scrolling. And so
Mm-hmm.
I will listen to a podcast like while I'm taking a shower or making lunch, and then try and implement what that person has said. So one person I've been listening to a lot is Amy Porterfield.
Okay.
I can't even tell you what her tagline is. Do you know?
I don't know what it
Something.
is either, but I listen to her too. Like I
You
have
know who she is?
I have a business coaching tab on my
Yep.
podcast, and she's always at the top of that for some reason. And she's
Yep.
pretty highly rated.
Yeah, and I just like her, and she sometimes lets her personality out a little bit more. I mean, I think she said freaking one time, and I was just like, oh, because I say freaking a lot. And so I was like, oh, I like her. So Amy Porterfield would be one. I do listen to Jennifer Allwood on her podcast, probably more so in her inner circle group than I do on the podcast. But I've gone and listened to a few podcasts that I feel like pertains to my life and my business, and I've gotten a lot of information from her and her guest speakers. And then one that I just started listening to is Story Brand. And it's been really interesting listening to this. They basically talk to you about telling your story and creating a brand, and just some of the things that they've said in the podcast are things I would never even have thought of. And they interview people, and it's just neat to listen to some other people's stories. So those I've probably been doing podcasts. Hate to not be a major social media nerd, but
Well, I listen to podcasts too all the time. One that I listen to that you guys will gain lots of inspiration from is called Your Mom's House.
okay.
I'm just kidding. You won't gain any inspiration from that.
Oh,
It's dirty and raunchy, and it's about sex.
but it's
Pretty
funny.
much everything. But it's funny. In the first 48, I listen to that podcast too. But no, I listen to Jennifer Allwood. I listen to a lot of crime podcasts. I'm totally a crime junkie. I'm always telling people that. I'm like, have you heard of any
Yeah,
good murders lately? And like, what should I follow? But
that's crazy.
I know, but I'm not a threat to society. No, but
You need to get some detective pants on then.
I listen to Jennifer Allwood. I love Jennifer Allwood because it's like a 25-minute show, and I can just get that. Who's that other girl? The blonde girl. Just
Jenna
had
Kutcher?
yes, I listen to her because I think her advice is so practical, and it's so like grassroots. Like you think it's just stuff that you think that you know, you think you should know once you hear it, but you're like, I didn't even think about that. And she's
Yep.
all about good photography and stuff like that. And I really feel like that's important when you have a social media business, period.
Definitely.
And that's another thing,
Definitely.
like anybody that has a vintage booth in an antique store, do not rely on the antique store to do all of your advertising. You need to be setting up your own Facebook page and your own Twitter page or Instagram. Really, it's just Facebook and Instagram. Your antique booth doesn't need a Twitter. But you need to be doing that. You need to be staging your pictures and things like that, because I always want to know like when my favorite dealers are bringing in new stuff, and literally none of them. At the store that I go to Rusty Rooster a lot here in my town. None of the individual dealers update their specific booth. Like the store just does it. Like I'm like, come on guys. Like I would totally be up in there buying your stuff.
Exactly. And I don't think people know that. And we do talk about that in the group as well. Because also, some people are going to see a picture that you post and they're going to be like, oh, I need that. And they're going to go right to your booth. They're not going to shop the whole mall. They're going to go right to your booth and get that piece that they just saw you post on your Instagram. And I don't think that all of the dealers realize that. So that is definitely something we talk about.
And then do you follow the Salvage Candy on Facebook? They're
No,
they're picking place. That one's
Okay.
awesome. You need to follow them. The Junk Mama, she's cool. She has some serious junk. She doesn't like clean any of it up. She literally like trashed a table. Like that's just what it is. And then
Okay.
she sent me over to this other page. It's called Texas Trash on Instagram. Love
Okay.
that page. It's like trash glam, like decrepit stuff with glitter is all I can really.
So do they sell in a booth or they have their own show?
They do. They go
store?
around all around the United States,
Do
and
shows?
they do pop-up shops.
Yep.
It's like a mom and her daughter. And I love those pages. But and of course, like I said, Dion from the Turquoise Iris, I just really like her, and she really makes me want to be a better person.
Yeah.
A
Well,
nicer
that's
person.
good.
She's so sweet. And when she does the little
Yes.
puppet show, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so
Well, I haven't
nice.
seen the puppet show. I've seen her when she's been painting with a friend, and just her technique and the finished product is
I
amazing.
love that melted paint look. I cannot achieve that, but I love that.
Yep.
Brooke, it has been so cool to talk with you again. I'm so glad that after a year, well, wait, it may even be 2 years.
I
We are
think it
still
might
in
be 2 years.
communication. Yeah,
Yes.
it's 2 years. Yeah, that we're
Because
still in
you had
communication.
your house was just like a twinkle in your eye. I think you maybe had your floor plan, but I don't think you hadn't broke ground or anything.
Yeah, I was probably still in debt and unfinanceable at that
Well,
time. But
but look at
yeah,
you now. Look at you now.
here I am.
It looks
But
gorgeous.
it does. I'm really grateful to be here. That was probably like building the house, like derailed everything in my business. Like it really did. But I look back and I'm like, this was worth everything. This was worth
Yeah.
starting at the bottom and building back up. But
Awesome.
I think I am going to be signing up for your class.
Awesome.
And again, you guys are going to visit thejunkparlor.com. You need to follow the Junk Parlor. And also, another really cool thing that Brooke does is she sells junk, 9 items on Sunday nights.
Yep.
And it's the most random stuff. It's like,
It is. I never know
it
what to
really
pick.
is.
I try and get feedback like, "Hey, what are some things that you
The other
want?"
day,
But
you sold a saddle stirrup and
yep.
a bullhorn. And I don't know, you might find a prosthetic leg on there. You might
Yeah, you
find
never
an old
know.
vase. You never know. But I think that's really cool. And I think that's something that other people should take note of. Those
Yeah.
small
Well,
things,
thank
those
you.
small little life sales. I think that's really catchy. And I was like, I need to go back and figure out what else she sold and find out what didn't sell so I can buy that
Yep.
stuff.
Yep,
But
totally. It has worked nicely.
and you're also going to want to visit, you guys, thejunkparlor.com, because she has freebies and opt-ins and things like that that you can do. But follow her here on Facebook as The Junk Parlor and on Instagram, right?
Yep, same thing. The junk parlor.
Awesome. Brooke, thank you so much for your time. And
Thanks,
if you didn't
Felicia.
notice, we are dressed the same.
Awesome. Baseball tees. Can't go wrong with that.
These are so in right now.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys, all of you, have a great day. I'm going to go pick my kids up and do some more dog fencing. So see you
All
guys
right.
later.
Well, have a great day. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye bye.